The LA Kings make a blockbuster trade for a potential heir to Kopitar. The Lakers commit to keeping the band together for next season, and Julio Reyes returns this weekend for the Dodgers. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is June 28, 2023. I'll be heading to the airport in a few minutes. But I have to tell you up front, we have an El Trafico giveaway to talk about. If you subscribe to this channel, you can win either an LAFC inaugural season kit or an LA Galaxy LA kit. Just subscribe to the channel. Comment which team jersey that you want to have. We'll let you know who wins after El Trafico on July 5th. Now, if you like being in the know about LA sports, click and clack the like button. Again, click and clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 5, Rockies 0. Clayton Kershaw pitches 6 no-hit innings and then removes himself from the game. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. JD Martinez hits career home run number 300. LA has won 5 of its last 6 games. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers and Rockies play again at 5:30. Michael Grove is 0-2 with a 7.59 ERA. Welcome to Colorado, bruh. And Kyle Freeland is on the mound for the Rockies, 4-8, 5.54 ERA. The Sparks are at Chicago at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. I love how the WNBA players are complaining about not having charter flights. You know what you really got to be complaining about? Playing at 9 a.m. Seriously, if it means you get a good night's sleep in Chicago, elect to fly Frontier. Goodness Lord. Anyway. Yesterday, the LA Kings pulled off a blockbuster trade that sent 3 players and a draft pick to Winnipeg for center Pierre-Luc Dubois. And like many blockbuster trades, they're instantly divisive. Instantly. You love or hate this. A lot of Kings fans went on Twitter and went just scorched earth on the front office about losing a young player coming off a career year in Gabe Vilardi, a respected locker room guy like Alex Iafallo, a top prospect, Rasmus Kupari. You give away 3 for 1, plus the draft pick that you had, that you had acquired in a trade the week before, and then you sign the new dude for 8 years. Have you lost your mind? I don't think that's a fair assessment. I think it's a bold move designed not only to get the Kings past the Edmonton Oilers, but to hopefully, with one more move, break open a championship window. I want to build you a case as to why General Manager Rob Blake had no choice but to make this move. No choice. Fans love young talent. It's like a security blanket, right? Oh, look at us. Not only are we great now, but we have such a bright future with all of those prospects in the minor leagues. The problem is, you can't hoard that young talent forever. A couple of years ago, LA held far and away the deepest prospect pool in the NHL. No doubt. But they can't all make the team. They can't. You don't just simply promote the Ontario Reign to Los Angeles and say everything's cool. It doesn't work that way. Hard choices have to be made. Now, to be honest, I've been saying all along that I prefer the Kings have gone crazy and just flushed the system to try to get an elite goaltender. Because the Kings had one in Jonathan Quick. Kings history is not exactly littered with one story after another of amazing goaltending. Quite the opposite, to be frank. They don't even have a good goalie now, really. I would say the goaltending in LA is suspect at best. But consider this. The Kings got flat-footed in net. They thought they had an heir apparent to Jonathan Quick in Cal Peterson. They were dead wrong. They were dead wrong. What if the Kings also got caught flat-footed saying, we have the next Kopitar, and they turned out to be dead wrong. Think about that. The Kings, for 4 years in a row, drafted somebody who they thought could be their next number one center. They thought they had it in Alex Turcotte. He's still in the minors and injury prone. They thought they had it in Velarde. Velarde is only 23, 24. He has massive back problems. It's why he misses time all the time. They thought they had it in Kupari. Kupari is too inconsistent to stay in the NHL. They thought they had it in Quinton Byfield. But do they really? Byfield had just 3 goals last year. He has 8 NHL goals in his entire career. Granted, he's 20, but only 8 goals in his whole NHL career? So even though Velarde scores a career-high 23 goals last year, he missed a quarter of the season with injuries. A quarter. Dubois scored more goals last year because he was simply available to play. Dubois is entering his physical prime, which suggests that he could be a first-line center, which means when an Angel Kopitar eventually slows down, and he will be 36 in August, they can replace him with a young, physical goal scorer. So in other words, you may think Velarde or Kupari could turn out to be a better player. You could guess. But then when you factor in the injury history of not being able to play, you don't know what you're going to get out of Velarde or Kupari. You know what you're going to get out of Dubois. So I'm not trying to say that Dubois is a superstar. I'm not. Because Angel Kopitar is not exactly considered a superstar. Not in NHL circles. He's not Connor McDavid, right? I'm saying that like Kopitar, Dubois is a legitimate difference maker. The question is how much of a difference? He's simply a damn good hockey player. And I know that there are stories about how Dubois wanted to play in Montreal. Honestly, the guy just wanted to play in a big city. That's why he signed a contract extension in LA in the first place. LA now has 3 offensive lines that could be a real handful for opposing teams right now. Dubois, because of Kopitar, Dubois slides into the second line. Scouts say his skill set is complementary to his new line mates, Kevin Fiala and Victor Arvidsson. That's an upgrade. Philip Deneau is just a couple of years away from having helped Montreal get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now he centers the third line. The depth the Kings have up the middle at center is insane. The Kings were pretty strong at forward now, but now they're a bunch of apex predators right down the middle. They've got 3 straight, just really strong scoring lines and a good checking line at the fourth. But they still don't have reliable goaltending. Last night, Cap Friendly claimed the Kings have about $4.5 million in cap space. Now, how Blake solves that problem, I honestly don't know. But since the end of the last season, the Kings have become more balanced defensively. They now have left and right-handed defensemen. They are significantly deeper down the middle, and they're stronger. Can't complain about that. We'll just see what they do to try to stop the puck now. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka said the flurry of recent trades in the Western Conference, the Suns trading for Bradley Beal, the Warriors trading for Chris Paul, the Grizzlies trading for Marcus Smart, they are not concerning enough for the Lakers to change course. Quote, I think we believe in the proof of concept in this group, and we saw defensively what we were able to do to finish the season out. And I think defense and rebounding wins championships. We want to lean into that, unquote. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with keeping the core together. Now, later that day, the Lakers extended qualifying offers to Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, which officially makes them restricted free agents. Free agency will open Friday afternoon. ESPN is also reporting that part of the Lakers' plan is to exercise the contract option on Jared Vanderbilt. They do not know, however, what the Lakers are going to do regarding Mo Bamba or Malik Beasley. The decision has to be made by tomorrow. We mentioned that Clayton Kershaw pulled himself out of a game despite a no-hitter through 6 innings. He told the Orange County Register, quote, I just didn't feel great overall. That last inning kind of got to me, unquote. He said he felt fatigued and that he wouldn't likely miss a start. Now, to be frank, I get it. I don't necessarily know what to believe either. Kershaw does have a lengthy history of injuries. They used to say that Evel Knievel broke every bone in his body. You almost get the feeling that Clayton Kershaw is trying to catch up with the injury history that he has. But fatigue in Denver. I've been to Denver. I absolutely buy that. I really buy that. Julio Reyes, meanwhile, will return to the major leagues Saturday in Kansas City. He has been out since May 18th with a hamstring problem. If Kershaw is healthy, the idea that the Dodgers might be getting their fitness back in the starting rotation would be a welcome change of pace, don't you think? It was only weeks ago when we were bemoaning that the Dodgers were missing an entire starting rotation of pitchers, all of them on the injured list. So we'll see if they're getting better. Some of this stuff that I'm about to tell you about Noah Syndergaard, you might not like. But he is trying to get a mental reset on playing baseball, and that means for him, meditating at the edge of the Pacific Ocean, letting his toes sink in the sand and absorbing the magnetical electrical current from the Earth's core. You heard me. The guy nicknamed Thor is absorbing magnetical electrical currents from the Earth's core by sitting at the beach. One of baseball's most feared fireballers is now taking walks along the beach like it's a 1980s soft rock video. Now, for the record, nobody's confirmed whether or not Thor is listening to Peter Cetera or Air Supply. I don't know. If he could revive his career, he could play Michael Bolton in the clubhouse for all I care. Another day, another couple of victories for USC's football recruiting machine. It's getting a little silly now. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Trojans fan, love to see it, but it's getting a little silly. 12 players have committed to playing for the Trojans this month alone. 12. It's like they're almost averaging a commitment a day. By this time, when kickoff 2024 comes around, there's going to be 400 dudes running out of the tunnel of the Coliseum in USC gear. That's a hell of a roster. Tap the brakes, Lincoln. Tap the brakes, Coach Riley. So yesterday, USC adds a 4-star safety in Marquise Gallegos of Sierra Canyon. And about 2 hours later, they add a 4-star offensive lineman in Makai Sina of Arlington, Texas. The class now ranks 7th in the nation. The one for the recruiting class of 2024. Now, don't get me wrong. Protecting your quarterback is always a good idea. So, welcome from Arlington, Mr. Sena. But Gallegos, to me, is the story because it tells me what the Trojans are thinking defensively. And I've been saying this since the end of the college football season. UCLA or USC, whichever school decides to play with sanity wins. Whichever school remembers defense matters wins. Gallegos, therefore, is the story because it tells me what the Trojans are thinking defensively. They are moving to the Big Ten in 2024. The secondary last year was a huge reason that SC gave up yards in bunches. So they landed 2 corners for 2024 in Dakota Fields, Marcellus Williams. I am not saying that all 3 of these guys are going to start as freshmen, but the idea is clear. Clean up the defensive backfield now. CBS Sports released a list of the top 25 NFL players who are 25 or younger. Here's something shocking. Justin Herbert's on the list. Especially, it's kind of shocking that he's 25. When you consider he's about to acquire, what do they call it, generational wealth? The Chargers quarterback has one of the best TD to interception ratios in NFL history so far in his career at 94-35. But he wasn't the only Charger to make the list. Offensive tackle Rashawn Slater is at 19. And that, by the way, was despite missing most of last season with a bicep tear. Rosters for the MLS All-Star Game in Nashville were announced. To be honest, I don't watch All-Star games anymore, but I like that the players who are in MLS seem to be into this one. They wanted to be selected. Now, seriously, you compare that to, say, the Pro Bowl. How many dozens of dudes are just like withdrawing from the Pro Bowl, and you're looking at this game and you're like, who the hell are these guys? For LAFC, Dennis Bouanga and Ryan Hollingshead were selected. Ricky Puig from the LA Galaxy. I give MLS credit for their All-Star game in one sense. It's not for some half-hearted sense of territorial bragging rights. No. The MLS All-Stars will be playing Arsenal of the Premier League on July 19th. And I have to admit, that sounds like fun. We have talked a bit about who will be the third wide receiver for the Rams, and it matters because they often line up in 11 personnel, which means 3 wide receivers. We've discussed how Puka Nacua has impressed as a draft pick, the emergence of Tutu Atwell in his 3rd season, but what about Ben Skowronek? Remember him? He was LA's number 3 last year because Van Jefferson was out with an injury. So let's talk about his case for just a half a minute. The coaches like him because if you're going to play wide receiver for the Rams, you are expected to block for the running game. And Skowronek, in that sense, is a physical handful. Here's his problem. He doesn't make big plays because you are expected to do that too. He's simply not fast. I've seen him drop passes, and that is the reason why you're hearing more about Nacua and Atwell. For the Rams to play Skowronek, it depends on the type of team that they want to be. They know their defense stinks, or is probably going to stink. In order for the Rams to win, they're either going to have to put up gobs of points, just hundreds of points up on the board, or they're going to have to control the clock to let the clock drain to keep the other offense off the field. If they choose the former, gobs of points, Skowronek could be as low as 5th on the depth chart. If, on the other hand, it's we want to run and kill clock, Skowronek has a shot of retaining his number 3 job. That's the way it seems to me. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about the Lakers deciding to keep the band together. Let me know what you think about that Kings trade. And don't forget to join in for our El Trafico jersey giveaway. Do you want to wear LAFC gear or do you want to wear LA Galaxy gear? Subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, Faithful Angelenos. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Camcorte El Queso production. Take care.